Hi everybody, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be all about moving to New York in 2021. I'm going to be giving you all of my best tips because I've been here through the entirety of the pandemic. I've observed a lot of things. I have friends who've observed a lot of things. And so not only is this video going to be advice that I'm giving you from my own personal experience and my own observation, but too much coffee. But I've also reached out to some of my friends on Facebook who have been living in New York for either their whole lives or have recently lived here and moved away. And they've offered some of their advice too. So I'm going to incorporate that into the video. So it's really going to be a well-rounded video from my own experience and authentic New Yorkers' experience too. So we're just going to try and help psych you up to come. I'm just going to give you all the advice I can give you to make your transition to New York City a lot smoother, because tips for moving to New York in 2021 are going to be very different from moving in 2020 or any year pretty much. So let's just jump right in. If you didn't know already, I've been living here for a little over 4 years. I moved to New York almost 4 years ago with no money, completely broke, no friends, completely alone. So I feel like that gives me a little bit of credibility to give these tips. I've lived in now 9 different neighborhoods. I've had roommates, I've lived alone. I've just have a whole, I don't know why I'm like, I have like a good overall scope of the situation. So when I asked for feedback from my New York friends on my Facebook, a lot of the feedback that I got was apartment related, because that is actually one of the biggest changes that the city is seeing right now. And it's obvious that prices have dropped. That's no surprise. But also finding an apartment when you move here, no matter what time, it's going to be stressful to find an apartment in New York City. So I got some tips for you right here. I'm gesturing down to my laptop. So my friend Ryan eloquently put, as I paraphrase what he said, but but he stated that now is like the best time to search for buy owner apartments. So by searching for buy owner apartments, you're automatically taking out the middleman, the broker, which can save you thousands of dollars, and it's easier for the landlord. I had an earring in? Y'all, did I just start this video with one earring? Okay. Anyways, so basically, if you only search for buy owner apartments, you're going to save yourself a lot of money, and the landlord is actually going to be in favor of that because he doesn't have to worry about paying for the broker or the real estate agent. But, you know, how do you find buy owner apartments? The suggestions he offers is to ask around. So it's not only an online search, but if you know anybody in the city, if you've joined Facebook groups for housing in New York City, there are several of them. So ask them what price they're paying. Ask them if they think there might be vacancies in their apartment, which likely it is because their landlords are really struggling right now to fill rooms right now. And then ask for contact information like directly to the management of the building. And I also suggest to call and not to email. Calling is always the best way. It's more direct. I have actually a whole separate video on my best tips for searching for apartments during COVID time, dealing with like price reductions and deals that are out there. So if you're interested in that, I go into a lot of detail. I'll link that above so you can watch that next. So I won't go too much into the apartment search thing, but I thought asking around for vacancies was a really good tip from Ryan. Thanks, Ryan. But yeah, moral of the story is just to ask everyone in person, online, whatnot. And that's just separate from ads completely. So continuing on the topic of renting, my friend Charlie stated that now is like the best time to look for apartments in trendy areas in Manhattan and Brooklyn because prices are as low as they were in like 2010. And I did look that up and it wasn't a Bloomberg article, so it's pretty valid. Charlie is my friend who's been living here his whole life, so he doesn't see these rent prices changing within the next 6 to 12 months. Take that how you will. I don't know if that's what's gonna happen or not. Disclaimer. Either way, it's food for thought. But there is a downside to renting in Manhattan and like trendy areas of Brooklyn right now because there is virtually no nightlife. So you're gonna be paying more for an apartment or a room, and then you don't get to actually experience what the neighborhood is actually supposed to be like. But this is a good tip if you want to, get your foot in the door now, like lock in the lower rent price and then just wait it out until the city starts to come back to life. Hopefully it will. So move with the long term in mind. Think past like 2021 in terms of like nightlife and all that stuff, because we all know that's like not happening right now. My friend Ryan said to check out areas like Upper West Side, West Village, and I think Upper East Side too, because there's a lot of brownstones that have just been completely vacated while people have been leaving the city, so prices are extremely low in those specific neighborhoods. So I haven't looked on Street Easy in a while, so check it out. Maybe you'll find a good deal. My old colleague Sarah also commented on my post, and she said that when you're searching for an apartment, landlords have to disclose any bed bug infestation treatment within the last 12 months, and that is the law. Well, the last thing you want is to move into a place and then find that there's bed bugs left over from your previous tenant, or your neighbor has bed bugs and then there's a whole issue, and that's the last thing you want. I don't want that for you. So I thought that was a really excellent tip. Thank you, Sarah. So I touch on this next tip a little bit in my apartment video that I already made, but Ryan mentioned that it's important to check the infrastructure of the neighborhood that you're considering to move in. The basics, like where's the grocery, where's the laundry, that's important. You better live close to laundry if you don't have it in your building. That's going to save you so much stress. Also, like, are there any restaurants in the area? Do you want any coffee shops nearby? Where's the nearest bus? Where's the nearest subway? Like, make your non-negotiables. After moving 9 times in the city so far, I have a little list of non-negotiables. So, for example, in Brooklyn, there's some cheaper rent that's like 10 to 15 minute walk from a subway, but that's actually a deal breaker for me. When it's so cold in the winter, and winter lasts a really long time here. So you're walking 15 minutes to a subway, and then a majority of the subways, at least in like northern Brooklyn, I guess, like off the JM line, it's all above ground. So you're just going to be really freezing cold. I quickly realized that that was not something that I wanted to deal with no matter what. Also, a non-negotiable for me is this is kind of a bougie one, but I have to live within like one train distance to a Trader Joe's because it's the most affordable. I just love Trader Joe's. But yeah, in terms of infrastructure, like have your non-negotiables in mind, write it down in your phone so you don't forget. Like, do you need laundry in your unit? Do you need laundry in your building? Or are you okay with hauling your laundry like a couple blocks away? Stuff like that. So have that in mind when you're looking for a place because you just don't want to be surprised. Okay, so on to non-apartment searching tips. One of my biggest tips is to just manage your expectations when you're moving here. If you watch Sex and the City like I religiously do, and you see that like New York buzz, people are out everywhere, all this dining out, going to bars, meeting people, it's honestly, it's not like that right now. It's actually the complete opposite, and if anything, the streets and the subways are just more empty than ever. Don't let that stop you from coming here, but just don't expect it to be like the New York that has been portrayed in films and TV shows and movies. Hopefully we'll get back to that point, but it's just not like that right now. So if you want that New York experience, like that bougie New York experience, it's not like that. I'm just being honest. I mean, when you get here, you just gotta be ready to buckle up and to stay home. And also don't be afraid to come here if you don't have a job lined up. I know someone commented on my New York story time video asking like, well, their friends have jobs lined up that are moving to New York. They're ready to go, but she didn't have anything lined up, but she's been wanting to live here her whole life, and she has like a couple, an emergency fund saved up. And I was like, honestly, I think you're in a better position to come here without a job, as long as you have like a cushion, as long as you have a money cushion to get you through the first few months. I honestly think that you need to love New York to move here right now. And some people with jobs already here, they just move here and they don't have that same passion, and eventually they start to resent the city because one, right now it's just not what it normally is. I mean, you just gotta love it because there's a lot of bullshit going on. Like the trains really don't work, the buses are always late. Like you gotta keep that deep love if you're gonna move here right now. I could see that she had that in her comment, so I was like, honestly, I think you're better off because you have that like grit and that drive to really find something. But I also suggest like checking out Craigslist and even Indeed. I've seen some good job postings, but just stay flexible if you're coming here without a job. But depending on when you move here, just get an idea on what's in demand, so when you get here you know exactly where you want to apply and you have an idea on like what job you could realistically get. This is probably my most realistic tip, at least if you're watching this during COVID times. If you're not, then you can just like skip to the next tip. But be prepared to wait. I mean, honestly, I don't know how it is anywhere else in the US or in the world. Getting COVID tested in New York, at least, it takes a while, especially if you go to City MD and you get there, before it opens, there's going to be a really long line. So just be prepared to dress really warm, bring a book, bring your music, and be prepared to wait in line. And I just got an email this week, actually, that City MD, which is, I think, the most popular place people are getting tested in New York City right now, that they've rolled out this virtual wait list feature, so that way you don't have to wait outside in the cold. But I didn't look into it too much. And this also goes for like grocery shopping. If you want to go to Whole Foods or you want to go to Trader Joe's, there's usually a line. So they only let in like 30 people at a time in the store to keep the employees safe and to keep everyone going in safe, and you have to wear a mask and they won't let you in without a mask. So just be prepared to like wait longer for things that you normally could just do pretty quickly. So the tip that I'll leave you with is before you come, find out what makes you feel at home that you can bring with you or that you could get a hold of when you get to New York. I mean this because you'll probably be inside for a lot of the time if you're moving this year, and you're gonna want to feel at home like to the highest degree that you can, because it can be really lonely if you're isolated or if it's your first time moving away from home. There's just not going to be people around, or if you have roommates, you don't know them. It depends on like the type of person you are on how you can adjust, but I think everybody could benefit from a little bit of nesting when you first get here so it doesn't feel so empty and scary. I guess to give an example, wherever I go, I always hang string lights around my window or around my bed or something, so that way at nighttime I can plug it in and that will be like my light source, and it's like warm lighting and it's really pretty and it always makes me feel at home. But another thing is scented candles. Bath and Body Works always has a freaking sale on their candles. I just bought a few for like $15 each, which is still a lot, but they smell so good. So good, and they can really make you feel at home. Like, I know coffee shops are closed right now, and that's one of my favorite things to do in the city is to like read or work in a coffee shop. So I got a candle that was like Paris Cafe, I think it was. It's mixed with like coffee scents, toasted brioche, but it smells like a coffee shop in my room. Actually, it's that candle that's lit like right behind me. So it kind of gives me that vibe. Different candles I get make me feel in a different mood. So consider that. Also, bringing pictures with you, hanging them on your wall. I tape postcards on my wall of my favorite places that I've traveled to remind me that, you know, there is more than just the four walls that I'm in right now. Helps my like anxiety and stir crazy feelings, you know, calm down. Excuse me. It helps those like calm down a bit. I mean, bring some tea that reminds you of home so that way you can sit in the winter time and like, or even in the summer, like some iced tea. What's your like comfort drink? I mean, you could even paint your walls to nest a little bit, but make sure to check with your sublease agreement or your lease agreement to see if they'll allow you to do that. But I always recommend painting if you can. I haven't yet, as you can see, big white wall. Just an idea. And also, you know, a heated blanket or even a weighted blanket, you can use it year round, and it does calm anxiety. It makes you feel like you're getting a big hug, and actually helps me sleep really deep. So I guess a conclusion, I'm never going to be on the side of like, don't move here because of COVID. There's nothing going on here. Please come if you want to come. And if you watch this video and you're planning on moving to New York, or you're already in New York after just moving here, please reach out to me. Like, leave a comment or something. Like, let's get in touch, because your girl's lonely here in isolation. And I could use some friends, and maybe you could too if you're new to the city and don't know anybody. Just please let me know. So make sure to like this video if it was helpful to you. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. I'm putting out more New York City vlogs and whatnot, New York City urban related content. So make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you won't miss another upload. And thank you so much for watching, y'all. I will see you next time.